Hello, fabulous fans, friends, and superstars of my dear friend Nadiya Shah. I am Yuriria Robles and I welcome you to the predictions for each sign for the month of October 2025. Hello, dear Taurus. This October of 2025, when the sun passes through the sign of Libra, the essential thing is to welcome autumn, which opens the second half of the year when the amount of light and darkness is balanced for the second time, although the length of the night is gradually increasing. It is a natural effort that requires actions to stabilize existing conditions, seeking justice both literally and figuratively for you. Let us remember then that the justice that comes from the system has nothing to do with what each of us wants or thinks is right, but rather with achieving a broader perspective. And this, to be honest, is not something easy to perceive, much less understand. It takes us time to adapt to what the sky dictates, and we only understand the message much later. For this reason, it is important to understand the order of the solar system and its movements. This way, we will have more tools to know what awaits us, and most importantly, how to take advantage of it. Taurus, for you, the sun's presence in Libra signals processes in your liberal life, showing you a different facet of your ruling planet with more refinement and elegance. The sign of Libra is ruled by Venus, and following its movement this month will shed light on what to prepare for. From October the 1st to the 7th, Venus is in Virgo and Mercury is in Libra, which speaks of an exchange of energy between thoughts and the desire for diplomacy, to be well liked, to find balance and justice. The key is to serve others and seek to be neutral with our desires, leaving behind the single vision of the self in favor of the common good. Venus remains in Virgo and Mercury enters Scorpio on October the 7th. The mental focus will be stronger as it also reaches Mars in this sign, its ruler. So now thoughts will be more focused and in harmony with actions. This joint presence of Mars and Mercury will awaken passion in your relationships and partnerships. Throughout the month, they will encourage an intense exchange of energy, seeking to speak your feelings openly, that is, express them even in your associations and groups of friends. As for Venus in Virgo, it will face an opposition before leaving the sign to Saturn, which we will experience as a confrontation between what our children need, love and creativity on the one hand, and what our groups and associations need on the other. It seems as if your associations and groups are shutting down, provoking intense emotions that drown your initial intentions. On the other hand, your children and loved ones, even your creativity, needs to end the type of care you provided them before, are realizing that it's time to move on to another stage of development will be liberating for everyone. This effort will persist until October the 12th. The following day, when Venus advances into Libra, it will strengthen your desire for diplomacy and elegance with the idealization of new goals which are just emerging. This will encourage you to seek new agreements and work relationships, especially because a balanced dialogue will be established with Neptune in Aries. The ideal plans of the institution where you work include, on your part, reaching an agreement with everyone and getting along despite your differences. The full moon on October the 6th is special because it concerns relationships in both directions, those we have with our parents due to the opposition between the moon and the sun, and those we establish with our peers because the moon in Aries is ruled by Mars and the sun in Libra is ruled by Venus. From this perspective, we can now aspire to be clear about who we associate with and why. In more mundane terms, the sun is the authority that helps our personality to be creative and enterprising, while the moon shows what we need to feel comfortable, protected, and at ease. So, what is your relationship with the authority that encourages you to do things? You can choose to take this opportunity to recognize what scares you about taking the plunge, especially because it makes you uncomfortable. Now, the sun in Libra forces you to consider the tastes and preferences of others. This lunation is a very important time to see that what others reflect back to us brings the message of being proactive, not aggressive. The relationship between Venus and Mars at this time will be somewhat complex, and there may be clashes between what you want and what you actually do, especially since the signs where these planets are located propose different methods, one of service and the other of personal focus. The only way these tendencies can come together in you is if you stop to carefully analyze what you truly desire and how you organize yourself to achieve it. This is important because Mars will have harmonious contacts with the nodes from October the 17th to the 22nd, which will affect your relationships and your goals. You must leave behind a very fixed, even obsessive vision to complete everything that is emotionally pending. Returning to Mercury from the beginning of the month, an internal demand will arise to review what gives you security, the attempts to achieve it, the failed actions, and the order we must follow to satisfy all demands, keeping all the formalities in an agreement that will be difficult to implement and complex to enforce. On October the 21st at 6:24 a.m. Central Standard Time, we will have a new moon in Libra, prompting a renewal of diplomatic activity at work for you. You need to prioritize agreements to build teamwork that sustains you professionally. This won't happen immediately, but keep it in mind so you can prepare in advance. This lunation forces you to consider the growing need for security and the original wound that needs to be addressed to move circumstances forward over the coming months, especially in the face of changes and new ideals that are still unclear. The change is felt, although it can't be precisely defined, but it will certainly be surprising. On October the 23rd, the Sun enters Scorpio, preceded by Mars and Mercury. On that very day, the Moon, already in its new phase, is also in this sign, making this moment a period of important focus and emotional intensity. Furthermore, it's in supreme harmony with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces. This configuration is important because it will allow you to communicate intensely and lovingly with your partner, your friends, and your children. All of them will even inspire you to be more creative. It's certainly a unique time of the year which will also allow you to reconnect with the original wound, the one that occurred when you were most vulnerable. However, now you will have the emotional strength to recognize the corresponding lessons. In short, You will gain awareness of what happened, separating the facts from their effects. Hopefully, you will assimilate lessons that elevate your consciousness. Take advantage of this time until November the 7th to stabilize your emotions, confront the fear of losing security, and change what's established even if it hurts. On October the 22nd, Neptune re-enters Pisces for the last time, only at the 29th degree, where it will remain until January the 25th in 2026. This signals a completion, a culmination and destiny, where the last lesson of the sign is learned before moving on to the next. For 14 years, you have experienced the best expressions of Neptune in this modern rulership, which your groups and associations you have witnessed other levels of perception, the entry into the culture of altered states of consciousness with the advantages and risks this entails, and a reconsideration of your spirituality. It also means closing emotional processes, understanding its message. Don't waste this opportunity.